Welcome to OTR, a friendly debate.
All right, with the first matchup of the tournament, it's Barry Zuckerkorn versus Jackie Chiles. Arguing on behalf of Barry Zuckerkorn, we have and arguing on behalf of Jackie Chiles, it's Lando.
Damn straight.
All right, gentlemen.
And this Jackie Chiles' history, in the conference finals, he knocked out Marshall from How I Met Your Mother, someone else from a beloved sitcom.
He wasn't that good. I'm pretty sure he ended up on the New York Supreme Court.
And that was one of Maddie's picks. Yes, he did, I think.
Yeah, Jackie Chiles definitely beat the hell out of Maddie. That's for sure.
And, of course, Barry Zuckerkorn defeated Perry Mason in conference play.
Wow. That's
stunning upset.
Okay. I did not know that coming into this matchup. I am shook.
High risk, high reward.
There's some momentum building.
Okay, let's... All right, then.
All right, guys. Tell us about your attorneys.
Okay, so I will start off. Jackie Chiles, the attorney from Seinfeld. He is an attorney that has 20 to 25 years of experience, depending on what episode you watch. He's gone through the facts of Kramer's case with attention to detail, bar none. There's no comparison with this attorney. He is a slick talker, he is charismatic, and he gets the job done.
And
Yeah.
Tell us about Barry Zuckerkorn.
So Barry, he is the Bluth family's defense attorney. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the show, the Bluth family is the main family.
The show being Arrested Development.
Exactly, yes. Barry has also many years of experience. And he is technically licensed to practice in California.
Technically. All right, guys, tell me about the legal acumen of your attorney.
Yeah, of course. So Jackie Chiles, obviously, he's the attorney in Seinfeld that's mirrored off of Johnny Cochran, who is a very famous attorney who's known for the O.J. Simpson case. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
And in Seinfeld, isn't there a similar line regarding that?
Absolutely. In the case, in the episode The Caddy, there is a lawsuit going on with the candy bar heiress, where she has to try on a bra against Jackie Chiles' best advice given to Kramer. The Kramer obviously went with the advice of his caddy. So they tried on the bra and it didn't really work out for him. But Jackie Chiles, he has, he's got a bunch of different catchy phrases where he repeats things in threes. He's deplorable, unfathomable, improbable. In the finale, it's an infringement on your constitutional rights. It's outrageous, egregious, preposterous. So, he's a good attorney.
Yeah, and for Barry, I want to just bring up his resourcefulness. He has many tactics that some may deem unusual in terms of his approach to some of his cases. He uses many online resources available to him, such as Ask Jeeves. He's able to find certain people for hire to maybe complete some tasks for him, like the California bar exam.
Sounds shady yourself.
And I think outside of his practice of law, I do also want to just mention that, he's very unashamed. And this is an important quality for an attorney because he is not afraid to ask his clients for money. He gets paid, and he ensures that he gets paid.
All right. Why should we vote for Barry over Jackie Chiles?
Well, Barry is extremely likable, played by the Fonz, Henry Winkler. Yeah, I think it's just more likable in general and has a good story arc.
Phil Morrison plays the part of Jackie Chiles. Extremely likable person, first of all. Second of all, this man is a slick talker. He tells Kramer that if he gets one coffee drinker on a jury, he's going to walk out of there a rich man when he talks about the coffee spill case that, obviously, as we all know, McDonald's coffee burned the hell out of that woman.
From the hell out of Kramer, too.
He's just charismatic, likable, and he talks to the jury like he's their friend.
So now in the matchup of Barry Zuckerkorn versus Jackie Chiles, let's go to the fan poll, see what they had to say.
Huh.
All right, very
Wouldn't have
interesting.
expected that.
Yeah, we'll have to take that into consideration. For me personally, I think Barry Zuckerkorn has more likability than Jackie Chiles. Jackie Chiles is
definitely.
slick talker. But I think Jackie Chiles' legal acumen overcomes that.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie Chiles has actually won cases. And that's, I think, very uncertain about
More
Barry
competent.
Zuckerkorn.
Yeah.
He's more about maximizing the billing rather than maximizing the outcome. And we've seen that time and time again throughout Arrested Development.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like we're all in agreement that Jackie Chiles advances to the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, unanimously.
Right, excellent. Back to you. All right, now it's time for the second matchup of the tournament. We have Jack Kelly versus Kim Wexler.
Yeah, and I believe that Kim Wexler beat out She-Hulk. Is that correct?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What an achievement.
Yeah. So, diversity.
And Jack Kelly, of course, defeating Jack McCoy in previous rounds. So, gentlemen, tell us about your attorneys.
Well, what hasn't already been said about Jack Kelly? I mean, come on. He's Charlie's uncle, and It's Always Sunny. That's the personal connection there. But I think he's best viewed in light of his foil in the show, which is just the unnamed attorney that hates the gang. So instead of keeping them at bay, Jack Kelly steps in and helps represent the clients who truly lack representation otherwise. Certainly everybody needs a lawyer, and Jack Kelly, for most of the gang, is that attorney. For instance, helping Dennis get out of his marriage, helping Frank get guns when he wants the right to carry. He helped annul Charlie and Frank's marriage. So he really steps in and gives these people representation who otherwise wouldn't have access to it. And so I think, in as much as we as attorneys have a public service expectation, Jack Kelly really embodies that.
Moochie, tell us about Kim Wexler.
Yeah, speaking of public service, Kim Wexler is a essentially big law or corporate attorney who prefers instead to take on public defender cases because that's where her passion lies. And she is an archetypal example of a good attorney in a TV show, whereas Saul is this foolish guy who pulls all these schemes to try to win. Kim goes by the book and is learned and smart, but the tragedy of the show is that she gets sucked into Saul's world of being seedy and doing unethical things.
And that raises a question, Saul versus Jack?
And I'm
Maybe
sorry.
next year, folks.
I'm sorry. So she takes away cases from the public defenders? She's
No.
a private attorney, right?
She's she does them like
Pro bono?
pro bono, yeah.
Okay.
But that's because where her passion lies, and she eventually ends up quitting her big clients to go defend people that need it.
Yeah.
Tell us about your character's likability.
Likability. Well, I think that Jack Kelly, he lacks a certain amount of confidence. He suffers from body dysmorphia. And I think that, especially for attorneys, younger attorneys, you've had to stand up in front of the bar and you are just on view. And you start to become self-conscious. And so through Jack Kelly, you can see how you are an attorney and how you deal with this self-consciousness, with the ordeal of being known. He has this particular method. It's not for me. But I think that he's relatable in the fact that he's overcome a lot of challenges that each of us has had to deal with at one point or another.
And Kim?
So I think Kim's likability can be summed up by the fact that as one of the few characters that isn't in Better Call Saul, you don't know her fate throughout the show. And a long-running thing online that was said often about the show was, "Oh my God, I hope Kim doesn't die. I hope Kim's okay." And she's very brilliantly played by Rhea Seehorn. Just an excellent attorney.
All right, thank you. The judges will take that into consideration. Wow, what a matchup!
That was a matchup.
It really was.
Jack Kelly and Kim Wexler. Who would have thought that one for the ages?
Yeah. I didn't even think that they'd be the matchup.
Let's see what the fans had to say about it. All right. Well,
Okay.
well, that's something to think about.
They certainly voted.
Lando, who do you vote? Who do you vote for on this one?
I'm going with Jack. Jack's my guy.
Yeah. Any reason for that?
No.
All right. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I'm going to go for Kim Wexler. I think she's clearly the more effective litigator.
She may be, but she's no Jack.
Well, I really can't argue with that.
That is not her
There's
name.
nothing for me to argue against.
Correct.
Spoken as a true Philistine. Vibes alone.
Yeah, I think Kelly is not only the more effective litigator, but also she's much more likable than Jack Kelly. He's creepy.
No
in
one
a
likes that
word.
fucking guy. It's okay. I voted for him, but
All right. Well, despite our disagreements, we're turning to we here for the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I think, I might not like him as an attorney, but as a viewer, I like him as a character. So I'm going to vote for Jack as well.
All right.
What do
Well,
people have to say?
that's quite an upset in my book. I guess the Nightman cometh into the second round. Back to you. All right. For the next matchup in the tournament, we have Phoenix Wright versus Harvey Specter.
So Phoenix Wright and Harvey Specter already have some victories coming into this round. Phoenix Wright defeated Sei Najima.
interesting.
Yeah, right.
Persona 5. Yeah.
Right. So that was one of Andy's picks, unfortunately. But Phoenix Wright's moving on.
I think that knocked Andy out, right?
Yes, unfortunately. Super producer Andy, it's kind of dead in the water here. And then as far as Harvey Specter, now Harvey, interestingly enough, is the winner of Conference USA, and that's how he's in the big dance here, as they say. So he beat Ted Buckland, a.k.a. Ted from Scrubs, to be here today. So again,
shocker there.
well, Ted made it to the final round there in Conference USA. So really, we have, again, two teams with momentum coming into this. So what say you guys?
Moochie, if you want to go first.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Phoenix Wright, we obviously played extensively his game a couple weeks ago, and I think Phoenix Wright is a good attorney. He wins 100% of his cases. If the canon of the games is to be believed, and I think he captures very well what it is to be an attorney, to be in like a high pressure situation and be sweating and be unsure of yourself in every moment. But for a good attorney, to continue on and press through and try to overturn every rock to try to win your case. Try to find something that'll let you, when the odds are all against you, try to find something that'll allow your client to win. Never gives up.
And Lando, I'm not familiar with Suits. Tell me about Harvey Specter.
Harvey Specter is a big-time attorney in Suits. He doesn't press the X button so that he could check out the discovery that he has like Phoenix Wright does. He's hailed as the best closer in New York City. He's confident, smooth, articulate. He's literally like the epitome of what a true trial attorney should be. And
Sorry, articulate?
yeah.
You mean articulate?
I am not Harvey Specter. But when I started law school, I binged this show. And this man is what I wanted to be as a trial attorney. This is what I wanted to be. And now I treat the courtroom like it's my home. And partly it's because I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. But a lot of it probably has something to do with Harvey Specter.
Can you tell me a bit about your character's legal acumen?
Well, like I said, Phoenix Wright, he wins 100% of his cases, and I think he does that by never giving up. He's a defense attorney, and in Japan, as we discussed, the prosecutors have even more power than they have in the U.S., and they win like 99% of cases, so the odds really are against him all the time, and he still ends up winning.
So you're saying he is the 1%.
Yes.
And how do you think he'll cope with failing if he's eventually defeated in the tournament? That must be pretty devastating, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be okay.
There you go.
He'll go to his mind palace and think of his dead boss, Mia.
Right. And any last words about Spectre?
Harvey Specter, he is employed at a big law firm that he eventually makes partner in. Okay, it's a big law firm. Like, we're probably all gonna hate on the big ones. However,
Good. Yeah.
he is a confident, smooth, he's their face, essentially. He might not be on the name of their law firm, but he is their face, and it's because he wins all the time. He mentors several attorneys throughout the show, including one that he hires on. That is the whole premise of the show. He's got it going on.
All right, that was an exciting matchup between Phoenix Wright and Harvey Specter. Let's go to the fans, see what they have to say. All right, again, don't know what to say about that.
Smoking. And I don't think they're saying the right things, because personally, I could not care any less about Harvey Specter. And I think I said that idiom correctly. I could not care less.
Yeah.
He does nothing for me. But, Phoenix Wright, there's a reason why I was on board for picking him for the live stream. So that's my prejudice, by all means, guys. How do you feel?
So I've been getting a lot of Suits clips on my YouTube Shorts lately.
You got
but
a Suits clip to your shorts?
Yeah, exactly. But I think even collectively, the amount of clips I've seen of Suits is still less than the runtime of your live stream. So I will have to go with Phoenix Wright as well.
All right, I guess it's unanimous.
I'm not sure whether I should be flattered or insulted by that. But while I figured that out, Derek, what do you think?
I'm not very familiar with Suits. I haven't gotten those shorts clipped to my suit or whatever you said.
Really angering the Suits stand.
I mean, there's tailors who are losing their minds right now, just screaming at their phones about how much shorts and suits should be clipped. But yeah, I don't know Harvey Specter that well. I wasn't
sound off in the comments.
I wasn't
how
particularly
much
swayed
should
by Lander's
shorts and
arguments.
suits be clipped?
So I'm going to also give that to Phoenix Wright in the unanimous vote.
There we go.
Couldn't agree anymore.
All right, back to you. All right, and now it's the final matchup of round one. We have Bob Loblaw versus Harvey Birdman.
And in the conference finals, Birdman beat Atticus Finch. Bird beats Finch. And Bob Loblaw defeated Maddie's last pick, actually the devil's advocate who sent him to hell in one of our previous episodes. Not sure why he picked him.
Yeah, well, the world's a mystery, but I think that people are just tired of Atticus Finch, and the world's ready for Bob Loblaw Lawbomb. So that's why I'm here today.
All right, tell us about your attorneys.
So, my attorney, Bob Loblaw,
From Arrested Development.
From Arrested Development.
Played by Scott Baio.
I was going to get to that, Derek.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Played by Scott Baio. And so he replaces Barry Zuckerkorn as the Bluth family attorney. And, he just has a career of cleaning up after Barry Zuckerkorn. And so really that just fits his role that Barry Zuckerkorn's messed things up. Bob Loblaw comes in. And it's really because you need a real attorney. You don't want somebody who's just going to be blah, blah, blah the whole time. You don't need double talk. You need Bob Loblaw.
Will you tell us about Harvey Birdman?
Yeah, so originally Harvey Raymond Randall Birdman was an ordinary human, but he was endowed by the sun god Ra with the ability to shoot solar rays from his fists. And
I actually dressed up as Harvey Birdman one all year for Halloween. No one got it. So I am vindicated 10 years later.
I think I maybe wouldn't have known you by then, possibly. But I would have gotten it. But, despite having these powers, he gave up this life of fighting monsters and villains, and he dedicated himself to the law, becoming a lawyer at first, and, at a firm.
Where did he go to law school?
Somewhere. He practices law.
Is he an expert in bird
say
law? Much like Jack Kelly?
It's not clear from the show.
One could
I'll say.
assume, though.
Yeah. So he is an attorney at law first, and Harvey Birdman attorney at law, and he later becomes the attorney general in Harvey Birdman attorney general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they're clear about that, when the transition is.
All right. Can you tell us about your character's likability?
Well, I think that Bob Laba is liked because when I say he's the Bluth family attorney, I mean that he has represented several members of the Bluth family.
Bob Laba?
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Can I say this any more clearly, Moochie? I feel like you're not, following along here.
Low blow, law blah.
So when I say, again, he's the Bluth family attorney, I mean that he's not only represented, George in his disputes over his property development, but also represented both Tobias and, what's Portia's, his wife's name?
Lindsay.
Yeah. He's represented each of their parties in their divorce. And in fact, when Lizzie hits on
I don't
him...
think you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, so, he does play a little fast and loose with the ethics laws. That is really what's endearing about him, I think, is that, he's willing to be a zealous advocate for his clients.
Right, and I think in the same sense, Harvey does the same. Speaking to his likability, his clients are generally classic Hanna-Barbera characters. And they're beloved.
Magilla Gorilla, Grape Ape.
Yeah,
that kind of
like
thing.
Fred Flintstone makes an appearance, Boo Boo Bear from Yogi,
Hey, Boo
the
Boo.
Johnny Quest cast. Scooby-Doo, I think, even makes an appearance,
Ah.
too. So,
Relevant.
Previous guests.
and some of these shows maybe didn't have lawyers in their universes, respectively, but Harvey Birdman is there to defend them.
Oh, I see.
All right. We got a lot to consider. I think this is going to be a very close one.
Well, I hope I win.
All right. That was a matchup between Bob Loblaw and Harvey Birdman. Let's take
Who was it? Bob what?
Bob Loblaw.
Okay. just double checking.
Let's take it to the fans, see what they had to say.
All right.
All right. Yes. And again, very interesting. Very interesting.
Quick take.
Bob Loblaw obviously has some likability issues we need to think about. He's a kind of a boring character.
Very.
That's
very
sort of his defining trait.
He's a professional.
Harvey
doesn't-
Birdman has wings, right?
He does have wings, and he is a superhero. So I think
Is he
we give
Red Bull?
likability.
The fact that he's left fighting monsters to then fight monsters legally,
in the courtroom.
in the courtroom, I think that's got to give him some kind of edge.
All right. Well, I think just off of likability alone, it's hard to say legal acumen in this case. I think they're pretty neck and neck. But off likability, I'm giving this one to Harvey Birdman.
I am going to second that.
I'm gonna lob a law bomb and pick Bob Loblaw.
All right.
What the fuck did you just say?
All right. Back to you. All right. For the first matchup of round 2, we have Benjamin Matlock, who got a first round bye, and then Jackie Chiles, who defeated Barry Zuckerkorn in round 1.
Sure did.
Yeah.
All right. We haven't seen or heard from Benjamin Matlock yet, so Pat, please tell us about your attorney.
Yeah. So, again, Matlock, for me, I know a little bit of controversial first round pick, but I wanted to lock him down on the mat because, to me, Matlock kind of embodies what a professional attorney looks like. So, Matlock comes from the series Matlock. Ironically enough, similar to Perry Mason, who I believe was beat out in a play-in match for this tournament. Anyway, so he's played by Andy Griffith, so obviously has the star power, the likability that puts him center stage here. And so his whole sort of thing is that he is, this aged widow attorney who, has a professional practice, has, I think, famous for having $100,000 retainer, but in many cases takes cases pro bono, or will take a reduced fee, a reduced retainer. And so, kind of in contrast to Perry Mason, his whole style of representation is to create reasonable doubt in the mind of the jury. And, compared to the Japanese legal system where they assume ahead of time they already have all of this evidence, what Matlock does is say, what if the prosecution's case was bullshit? What if it happened some other way? And in many cases, I think that's how it happens. So Matlock, again, zealous defender, but he's an actual serious attorney. I think the only one on my team, only one of my picks, who I would actually let represent me.
Lando, why should we select Jackie Chiles over Matlock?
In many cases, that is exactly what the defense attorney does. Pokes holes in the prosecution. I don't think that Matlock is special in that regard at all. I mean,
He's competent.
at all. Like, who's this guy from the 80s? 70s, maybe?
He's certainly in his 70s or 80s.
Yes.
Yes, no, he is in fact quite old. I'm looking up right now. The show moved from NBC to ABC, but it ran from 86 to 95.
I'm sure there are plenty of things that he would have gotten canceled for. This man probably should have retired long, long ago. Whereas Jackie Chiles is going at it. He took on Big Tobacco for Kramer and basically said, your face is my case.
Doesn't he kind of take frivolous cases, though? He has a very loose and fast relationship with the truth in a lot of these cases.
No, he represented the 4 main characters of Seinfeld and told them that essentially they don't have to stick up for anyone.
Well, in the end, he failed.
Well, he made the argument
He
that...
lost, right?
Yeah, right, but he made the...
So I'm correct that he is a failed attorney.
I wouldn't go that far. He made the argument
The
that...
biggest case of his career.
Well, I wouldn't...
Flub.
It was a disorderly conduct, let's be clear. He told the jury in that case that you don't have to help anybody. That's what this country's all about. It's deplorable, unfathomable, improbable that they would have to help someone out that was getting videotaped and getting mugged, and he made the case. It doesn't matter that he lost. He's a good attorney.
He slept with one of the witnesses too, right?
That's what I was going to say. It doesn't matter that
Are you saying that in a positive way? Why did you want to bring that up?
It doesn't matter that he lost the case. He won because he ended up with the girl that I think Jerry was dating.
Sidra.
Sidra.
Which one? Yeah.
Sidra in one of the earlier episodes where Jerry was questioning whether or not her breasts were real. Jackie found out. That is a win in his column.
I gotta say though, I would be a little upset if my attorney was out there stealing my women, or I guess in the case of Kramer, like my friend's attorney stealing my women.
So I do want to bring the conversation back to Matlock a bit. Pat,
He doesn't get any women.
I would too.
Pat, you said that because
He's a widow.
You said that
That's fucking insensitive.
you said that because Matlock is played by Andy Griffith and people like Andy Griffith, that Matlock is likable. But in fact, I believe Matlock is actually quite a curmudgeonly character.
Ooh.
How do you respond?
He's folksy. He's folksy.
Oh, that is just a
For
shade
better or
over.
worse, he's a salt of the earth kind of guy. And I think that he speaks and operates himself from the wealth of experience he has. And again, I'm not going to accept being a widow as a widower as a negative against him.
In this day and age where you have to e-file stuff, do you think Matlock's going to be able to do that for you?
Do you think Matlock could hire a paralegal? I do.
All right.
Who would work for Jackie Chiles?
All right. Well, we've got a lot to consider. We'll have to see how the judges decide on this one.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see.
All right. That was a second round match between Benjamin Matlock and Jackie Chiles. What do you guys think of that one?
Very exciting.
Yeah,
Very
same.
exciting.
All right. Well, let's go see what the fans had to say. All right. What do you think of this one?
I think I'm gonna have to go with my boy Ben over here. He he just has a lot more years of experience, and I think he is a much more effective attorney.
Interesting. Muti?
I'm way more familiar with Jackie Chiles. I'm way familiar with his style. I think he's got the style. I think he's got the charisma and the youth and vitality to take this win.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think Benjamin Matlock, he's a bit too much of a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt him. He didn't seem to benefit from that first round bye in this case. So we're going to it's going to be an upset. Jackie Chiles advances to the semifinals. All right, for the next matchup of round 2, we have Harvey Birdman, who defeated Bob Loblaw in the first round, versus Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, who's coming off of a first round bye. Gentlemen, please. Well, let's start with Vincent Gambini, who we have not heard from before. Moochie, please tell us about your attorney.
It is Vincent Gambini, played by Joe Pesci in what many consider to be one of the most authentic legal movies. In fact, a comedy. It's very surprising that dramas can't seem to get it right, but a comedy does. A great attorney who he never gives up. He took the bar 6 times. He didn't get what's that?
What movie again?
My Cousin Vinny. He didn't give up on the 5th time failing the bar, and he wins the case for his cousin, a murder case. His first big case, he wins it through skill at talking to the jury with simple stories and simple inconsistencies that get their attention.
And just so we all know, his cousin was the Karate Kid, right?
Yes, Ralph Macchio. Yes.
Okay. Was Mr. Miyagi in this film?
No, it's not in the Miyagi-verse.
Okay.
It's not Cobra Kai and...
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and how does Harvey Birdman respond?
Well, I want to say Harvey Birdman, he was a superhero. He was fighting monsters and saving people. And that in itself lies with a lot of ethics. And I think that might be something that Vinny is lacking. For instance, he lies to a judge to get a pro hoc vice admission. He doesn't know the rules of evidence, despite taking the bar 6 times, which I'm not a dig on him. I took the bar 4 times, finally passed. But, maybe he's not the best at retaining information.
See, I don't think I really don't see him as unethical at all. And in fact, he is not really doing anything all that shady, for the most part, in his actual... the legal proceedings of the trial. The judge rightfully calls him out for certain things. He, the time he doesn't dress professionally is not his fault, really. And throughout the movie, he tries to do better and better and really impress the judge and actually win the case.
How is not dressing professionally not his fault? He dressed himself, didn't he?
He did. No one else dressed him. He had to get a suit because his suit was ruined by the incredibly shitty weather conditions of the place he was in.
Really, it's the
couldn't get any sleep,
fault, right?
Right. Yeah.
It gets all nutty.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But I love the scene where he attacks the guy over the time it takes to cook grits. His ability to retain information, he was able to retain how long it takes to cook grits. And he knew the guy was bullshitting by saying he took 10 minutes. I think he says, "Are you sure about that 10 minutes? You sure about that 10 minutes?"
All right. Well,
it is a great line of questioning.
Sold me.
I'm not sure about that 10 minutes, so that's all I have to say about that.
Probably we something.
Yeah, do you have anything else to say about Harvey Birdman or My Cousin Vinny?
Yeah, I just think I'm not honestly too familiar with My Cousin Vinny as the movie. I'm somewhat familiar with the scene that I've seen a few times with Marissa Tomei. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe it's a kind of a cop-out to rely on her knowledge base rather than developing his own.
But he knows how to put on an expert attorney who is maybe unconventional, but he is going to know her shit about cars, about the Buick Skylark.
And we all know for him to put on an expert attorney, I think he would have had to get some qualifications out, which I don't think he actually laid the foundation for. But did you completely miss the viewing at our law school when they showed My Cousin
Vinny?
I
saw it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just didn't remember.
I was there.
We also watched it with...
I might not have wanted to be there.
We also watched it with Therese, where she thought the whole first half of the movie was a dream.
That's true. I feel like I'm dreaming right now.
Okay.
Any closing arguments?
Vincent Gambini, an excellent attorney who learns how to play by the rules of evidence and win the case.
Yeah, and Harvey, as I said earlier, is dedicated to the law. He gave up a life of being a superhero fighting monsters, and he offers legal services to those without any in existence in their entire universe. So,
all right. Well, thank you very much. We'll go to the judges. Wow, that was a great one.
That was one.
Not much to say about that. Before we get into our own analysis, let's see what the fans had to say.
Were they even watching?
Who knows? At this point, who knows? Let's see. I'm going to have to go Vincent Gambini on that one. I think he really deserved that first round bye, and you can see the extra rest paid off. Lando, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think Daniel LaRusso really killed it in that movie. And he really came through with the kick to the face. It was an illegal kick, but he did it.
All right, I'm not sure we were watching the same movie, but point taken. And then Pat, what's your take?
So I think personally, as in some other cases, I'm biased as someone who likes to dress up as attorneys for Halloween. Apparently, one all year, yeah, I did dress up as Harvey Birdman. Yellow hat and wings and everything all together, and I even had a suit at the time that fit me. So I think that in my mind, he's in a way a lot of a role model because not only is he a superhero, he's a super lawyer. And so
You're on the record as saying that super lawyers is a scam.
Well, yeah, it is, but in the
Has he won the award?
in the colloquial sense,
Oh, okay.
he's a super lawyer without having had to pay for it.
All right.
And so that earns my respect and my vote.
All right. Well, that is a two votes.
2-1, I think.
For
Yeah.
Vincent LaGuardia Gambini there in a split decision, and he advances to the semifinals. And the next matchup of round 2, we have Phoenix Wright, who defeated Harvey Specter in round 1, versus the recipient of a first round bye, Elle Woods.
I'm personally looking forward to Elle just tearing it up in this competition. Like, I'm really rooting for her.
Yeah, well, off of that, I can give some background.
You're supposed to be impartial.
Elle, she's a former sorority sister from CULA. She majored in fashion merchandising, and while in undergrad, she maintained a 4.0 GPA. And I think these facts about her, gave her a strong sense of community with her sorority sisters, and her educational background is a little uncommon in the legal field, and I think it allows her to have a creative yet effective approach to addressing certain issues.
So I'm wondering, because I haven't seen any of the sequels to Legally Blonde, and are you familiar with them? I didn't want to...
Yeah, well, there's one sequel directly with Elle Woods, and then there's another one called Legally Blondes, which references her, but it's her British cousins. It's not very good.
So
Let's not forget the musical adaptation.
Well, that's
Right.
true. Yeah.
in the first movie, for most of it, she's really not an attorney yet.
Yeah.
Is she a good attorney as time goes on in the sequels? Or
Yeah, so, the
skill.
first movie ends with her graduating from Harvard, and she gave the speech at her graduation, and she really focused on passion. And so she brings that into the second movie, being very passionate about animal rights. So she finds Bruiser's mom. Bruiser is her puppy, her dog, and finds her mom and finds out that Bruiser's mom is being used in animal testing. So she brings that passion. She's able to go to the Hill in DC and get some legislation passed for animal rights.
I have Phoenix Wright, who takes on only murder cases. Does she take on anything more serious?
Well, she did do a murder case, actually, in the first movie as a law student. Yeah, she was being supervised.
Takes kidnapping cases as well and manslaughter, I think. There's a couple different ones.
Are those more serious than murder? I don't know.
Less serious cases where he might stand more toe-to-toe with Elle Woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why should the judges pick your attorney over the other?
Well, Phoenix Wright, it has the 100% success rate in the difficult Japanese court system.
So, but this is when his boss is like over his shoulder the entire time, right? Until she's murdered.
And, well, he wins the murder case where her sister's accused of murdering his former boss. He wins that case too. And then from there on out, he relies on her sister's sort of spirit powers a little bit, but still gets through it mostly on his own.
From what I've heard, it takes several attempts for certain cases to actually go through for him to win.
Why is I don't know if it takes several attempts.
The player sometimes messes up.
Oh, yeah. I guess so. If you get a game over enough times.
And a final argument from Elle Woods.
Yeah, I think, speaking now that we brought up bosses, Elle's boss in law school, Professor Callahan, inappropriately touched her. Yeah, seriously. She's faced a lot of adversity. At first with the admissions committee, like not taking her seriously as this like blonde Californian girl. She faces that sexual harassment, or it might be even worse than sexual harassment. I don't know what exactly that's considered. And despite this, she perseveres and she pushes forward and, does great.
All right. Well, excellent. Thank you very much. We'll go to the judges now. Wow. Another exciting matchup.
It was a good matchup.
That was Elle Woods versus Phoenix Wright. Pat, let's, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I gotta say, I am still just reeling from the accusations that came up during that matchup. But I think that Ace Attorney, though, he has a proven track record as a solid attorney. He's able to gather all of the evidence and push whatever buttons he needs to put it together and prove his case. So the man just executes. He's like a well-oiled machine. You can even say it's like he's programmed to do this. So, yeah, I'm all in for Phoenix Wright.
All right, well, let's see if the fans agree. All right.
Interesting.
Lando, what are your thoughts?
Ace Attorney, I think not. I really don't know who gave him that title, but they were wrong. I mean, Elle had it the entire match. So my vote's for Elle.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I feel like, the video games, when you're playing as the user, you can be a bad attorney. And that happens quite often to Phoenix Wright. Yeah,
if you watch the live stream, I was an awful attorney.
Yeah, Moochie's coming in saying that Phoenix Wright wins 100% of his cases. I've witnessed that to not be true.
Correct.
So Elle Woods advances to the semifinals.
You heard it here, folks.
All right, and for the final matchup of round 2, we have Jack Kelly, who defeated Kim Wexler in round 1.
Oh, yeah.
Versus the recipient of a first-round bye, Lionel Hutz. Let's hear from Lionel Hutz first.
Lionel Hutz, the attorney, one of the attorneys in The Simpsons. He has 32 years of experience. He looks like a young guy, and you would think that he'd have a lot of experience with 32 years under his belt, but it does not show.
You could say that again.
He first appeared in Bart Gets Hit by a Car. He shows up as basically an ambulance chaser, where he fakes injuries. He gets basically a fake doctor, Nick Riviera, the hello everybody.
Hello everybody.
To sue Mr. Burns. So I don't even care that he fakes everything because fuck Mr. Burns. He's got so much money. And he almost gets $1 million payout just on that settlement alone. But again, Homer and Marge ruin it, and Burns, takes the win on that one.
Has Lionel Hutz ever won a case?
He has won several cases, and we'll get into that. Such as from season 6, episode 22, Round Springfield, Bart has to have surgery after he eats Krusty's cereal, and he gets like a jagged piece of metal like in his stomach. Lionel successfully argues the case and settles out of court, and he gets $100,000 payout. 99,500 goes to Lionel and his crack team of attorneys. Bart gets $500 out of it. So that's one.
I think the ABA might have something to say about that.
And does he work on contingency?
No, he requires money down.
He requires money down.
Despite what his business card might make you think.
The thing about Lionel Hutz is that he's not, towards the end of his career in The Simpsons here, he is not in it for the money. He, after he takes on a case in season 7, episode 18, The Day of Violence Died.
Oh, wow, somebody did their research.
I definitely did, because I love Lionel Hutz. Bart discovers that the real Itchy and Scratchy creator was homeless. Lionel gets involved. He's the attorney that basically sues the fake creator of Itchy and Scratchy. That guy wins $800 billion. Lionel Hutz secures an $800 billion payout, meaning if he's working at a 30% cut, he is $240 billion richer.
Yeah, he might have taken that case pro bono.
The next time we see him, he's a real estate agent, so he's clearly doing it just for the job.
Why is he a real estate agent? Do you remember the reason? Because I recently watched that episode, and by recently I mean last night. I think he says, well, most of my clients end up losing their houses anyway, so it was a natural transition for me.
He doesn't need the money.
He's a notorious alcoholic to the point that he can't control himself in court, fantasizing about bourbon being the brownest of the brown liquors, salivating.
Let's hear
And
about...
moreover, we were talking about Vinny not knowing the rules of evidence. When he messes up in court, he says, I move for a bad court thingy instead of mistrial.
Let's talk about your guy with the small hands.
Yeah, so it's Jack Kelly, as we know. Lawyer extraordinaire for the gang in It's Always Sunny. And I think that, again, these are essentially clients who no other attorney, certainly not the other attorney in It's Always Sunny, would take on. And that's where Jack steps in. He doesn't charge these crazy fees, nothing of that sort. I think he's a very honest attorney and does the best he can.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Again, we have to go to the judges and see who advances to the semifinals.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that was another exciting matchup, this time between Lionel Hutz and Jack Kelly, two of probably the least effective attorneys in the tournament. Moochie, what do you think of this one?
Well, let's see what the audience thought at first.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
I don't know if it'll sway me any one way or another, because I'm definitely going with Hutz on this one. He's, the funniest. I mean, just the likability alone. Like, Charlie's uncle's got some problems that we maybe won't get into, but Hutz, he's got the charisma, that great Phil Hartman, great role for Phil Hartman, hilarious, just a wonderful character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think for me, Uncle Jack, suffers from body dysmorphia, and that's something I'm very familiar with. So I got to go with Jack.
All right. Well, I guess I got to be the tiebreaker here. I'm going to give this one to Lionel Hutz, and sort of it's not an upset because Lionel got the first round bye, but you're really picking the lesser of two evils here, in my opinion. Lionel Hutz advances to the semifinals.
Congrats, Lionel. Wow, we've really seen some exciting matchups here today, right, guys?
They've been
Definitely.
great.
Yeah. Well, since before we get to the second half, let's go to our halftime show. And our vinyl recommendation of the week. Again, we are started as a record club. So
We don't have Beyonce.
no.
Okay.
But this week it's Nothing Valley by Milk Belly, a local Chicago band. They're kind of a noise rock band. They kind of give off vibes of 90s Sonic Youth and maybe some of the Riot Girl acts as a female-fronted band local to Chicago.
Okay.
So I just
Have you
want to
seen
shout
them?
them out. I haven't seen them, but I think off the name and maybe even just the album cover, I know they were at Pitchfork, and not on one of the days I went, but I was just like, oh, that looks cool. It's a cool album, and it is a good album. Just it's noisy, but it's kind of punky. It's not like too chaotic, but it's got like a punk edge to it, and I really enjoy it.
I think I must have just missed him at Pitchfork. They might have played a little bit earlier the one day.
Yeah.
We had just gotten the dog that weekend, so we're like, we can only spend a couple hours at Pitchfork here or there.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it would have been a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Check them out.